Tap dance, and I'll marry you," the millionaire grinned. But the cleaning lady's dance left everyone speechless. Sometimes fate gives a second chance in the most unexpected way, through a glass of champagne falling under your nose and a mocking bet. This is the story of how a 50-year-old businessman met his first love in the form of a humiliated cleaning lady and learned the truth that had been hidden for 22 years. About a woman who lost everything because of someone else's greed, but kept the fire of tap in her heart, and about how true love knows no social boundaries, but requires the courage to admit your mistakes and the right of another to forgiveness. Before we begin the story, write in the comments what part of the world you are watching from today. Crystal glasses clinked in the luxurious hall of the Copacabana Palace Hotel, when a woman in a gray uniform stumbled over the edge of an expensive carpet. A silver tray with glasses of champagne flew down, showering the floor shards of glass and splashes of expensive alcohol. The conversation in the room died down, all eyes turned to the incident. "Oh my God, how awkward," exclaimed Fernando Alvarez, a 25-year-old model in a tight red dress. "Rodrigo, darling, call security, let them clean up this cow." Rodrigo Santos, the birthday boy celebrating his 50th birthday, looked at the woman bowing before him with a disdainful smirk. An elite party in the most expensive hotel in Sao Paulo, 200 invited guests from high society. And this clumsy cleaning lady ruined everything. "Sorry, sir," the woman said quietly, without raising her head. "I'll clean it up now." She knelt down, collecting the shards with trembling hands. The guests laughed. Some were filming what was happening on their phones, others were making sly comments. "Look at her," Fernando nudged Rodrigo with her elbow. "She must have drunk from our glasses. Or maybe she drops it on purpose to draw attention to herself." One of her friends chimed in. "She probably thinks a rich man will notice." Rodrigo wanted to beckon a meter away from his body so that they could clean up this nuisance, but something stopped him. There was a special grace in the movements of the bent-over woman, even when she was picking up the shards, a smoothness that no uniform could hide. "Hey, you," he called to the cleaning lady. "Get up." The woman slowly straightened up, but did not look up. Rodrigo saw a thin face with sharp cheekbones, hair pulled into a tight bun, calloused hands. "How old are you?" he asked. 45, sir." "Where are you from?" "From Sao Paulo, sir. I've been working in the cleaning service for 3 years." Fernando tugged impatiently at Rodrigo's sleeve. Quote, "Darling, why are you talking to her?" "Just wait already," Rodrigo stopped her. Something about this woman caught his attention. Quote, "Can you dance?" The question came so unexpectedly that the room became quiet again. "What?" The cleaning lady didn't understand. "Can you dance?" Rodrigo repeated louder so that the guests could hear. "Tango, samba, anything else?" "I used to be able to, sir." "Excellent." Rodrigo turned to the guests with a broad smile. "Gentlemen, I have a proposal. Let's have a little competition." "What's your name?" "Elena." "Signor Elena will dance with my beautiful bride. The one who performs the tango better wins." "Rodrigo, you're crazy," Fernando was indignant. "I won't dance with the cleaning lady." "But you will, my dear, it will be fun." "And what does the winner get?" one of the guests shouted. Rodrigo thought for a moment, then burst out laughing. "If Fernando wins, I'll buy her a new ring, and if he wins," he looked at Elena. "This lady, I'll marry her." The hall exploded with laughter. The guests clapped, whistled, shouted approving exclamations. It was clear to everyone that this was a mockery, a way to humiliate the clumsy cleaning lady even more. "Rodrigo, this is stupid," Fernando whispered. "Relax, my dear. Let's see how stupid she will look on the dance floor." They turned on the music, passionate tango. Fernando walked to the center of the hall. Her movements were beautiful, but superficial. She had studied dance for a modeling career, but her performance lacked soul. Elena stood against the wall, clenching her fists. Rodrigo saw her struggling with herself, to remain in the shadows or to accept the challenge. "What are you afraid of?" he shouted mockingly. "Or is it only floors you know how to clean?" The words acted like a slap in the face. Elena straightened up, and something changed in her posture. She slowly walked to the center of the room, and suddenly her movements became completely different. Smooth, confident, mesmerizing. The music started playing again, and Elena began to dance. Rodrigo felt his breath catch. These movements are grace, they are passion. He knew this style. Many years ago, he had seen exactly this tango performed by the woman he loved more than life. Elena danced, and with each movement, the years seemed to be erased from her face. Her gray hair was disheveled. Freed from the bun, her eyes lit up with fire, and her body acquired that royal grace that cannot be hidden under any uniform. The hall froze. Even the most cynical guests stopped laughing, enchanted by what was happening. Fernando stood to the side with her mouth open. She realized that she had lost even before the end of the dance. Elena, Maras, Rodrigo whispered. The music ended. Elena froze in the final pose, breathing heavily. And at that moment something flashed on her neck. A thin chain slipped out from under the collar of her uniform dress. Rodrigo came closer and saw a silver medallion in the shape of a rose with an engraving. Eleni from Rodrigo, forever yours. 1999, it's you, he exhaled. It really is you. Elena grabbed the medallion and hid it back under her dress, but it was too late. Rodrigo recognized her. Elena Moraes is the most talented dancer in Sao Paulo, the owner of the La Passion Academy. My first love. The guests looked at each other, not understanding what was happening. Fernando looked from Rodrigo to Elena with growing anxiety. Rodrigo, what are you talking about? She laughed nervously. What academy? She's the cleaner. Quote, yes, Elena said quietly, finally raising her eyes. Now I'm the cleaner. Rodrigo looked into those eyes. Brown with golden sparkles, which he knew by heart. The years had left their mark, but the look remained the same, proud, strong, unapproachable. But how? Why? He muttered. You disappeared 22 years ago. Just disappeared. Not disappeared, Elena answered coldly. I was squeezed out. Who? How? It doesn't matter. It's in the past. But your academy, your career, everything you ever wanted, it's all lost, as you can see. There was no self-pity in her voice, just a statement of fact, but Rodrigo could see the pain in her eyes, a pain that the years hadn't acknowledged. Elena, he took a step toward her, but she stepped back. Happy birthday, Señor Santos, she said formally, and with your engagement. Sorry to bother you. She turned to leave, but Rodrigo grabbed her arm. Wait, we need to talk. What was Elena talking about when she freed herself from his grip? About what happened 22 years ago. Too late, Señor, too late. Elena Moraes, a voice came from the crowd. Everyone turned. An elderly, elegant woman in a black evening dress was approaching them. Dona Mercedes Santos, Rodrigo's mother. Mama, he said in surprise. Do you know Elena? I know. Mercedes stopped in front of Elena, and I have something to tell. A tense silence hung in the hall. Everyone felt it. Something important was about to happen, something that would change the whole evening. What should I tell? Asked Rodrigo. The truth, answered the mother, not taking her eyes off Elena. The truth about why this woman disappeared from our city and what role our family played in it. Dona Mercedes glanced at the silent guests, then resolutely took Elena and Rodrigo by the arms. This conversation is not for prying ears, she said. Let's go. Mom, what's going on? Rodrigo demanded, but the mother was already leading them to the exit of the hall. I will explain everything in a private setting. They went into a small meeting room. Dona Mercedes locked the door and turned to them. Elena, she said, I have lived with a sense of guilt for 22 years. The time has come to atone for the sins of the family. What are you talking about? Rodrigo looked from his mother to Elena. Sit down, son, and listen. Rodrigo sat down in the chair. Elena remained standing by the window, her arms crossed over her chest. In 1999, Dona Mercedes began. You were in love with Elena. You were going to marry her. You were planning to combine our business with her dance academy. Do you remember? Of course I remember, but she disappeared. Just disappeared one night. She didn't disappear, Rodrigo. She was forced to leave. By whom? His son's voice became hard. Your father. Silence fell in the room. Rodrigo turned pale. What did his father do? Don Carlos considered Elena unworthy of our family. A simple dancer, without noble origins, without connections in high society. He was afraid that marrying her would ruin the reputation of the Santos family. And what did he do? Rodrigo asked quietly. He staged a scandal. Through a bribed student at the academy, he spread rumors that Elena was seducing underage students. At the same time, he organized a theft from the academy's cash register and blamed Elena for it. Elena stood with her back to them, looking out the window. Her shoulders were shaking. This can't be, Rodrigo whispered. Father couldn't. He could and did. The police received anonymous information, the press, compromising photographs edited in the best studios in the city. In 1 week, Elena went from being a respected teacher to an outcast. My God, Rodrigo covered his face with his hands. And then what? Then well-wishers came to Elena and explained. Either she quietly disappears from the city, or the matter goes to court, and in court she would have no chance against Don Carlos's money and connections. Why didn't you tell me? Rodrigo raised his head, looking at his mother. Because you loved your father and because I was a coward, admitted Dona Mercedes. I knew the truth, but I kept quiet. 22 years of silence. Rodrigo stood up and walked up to Elena. Elena, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you try to explain? She turned to him, and he saw tears in her eyes, the first that evening. Tell what? That I'm being accused of something I didn't do? That your father is ready to destroy me just to separate us? I would believe you, right? And if they showed fabricated photos of me allegedly kissing a 17-year-old student? If they presented witnesses ready to testify for money? Rodrigo was silent, realizing that back in 1999, he really could have given in to the provocation. Quote, your father was very convincing, Elena continued. He explained to me that if I tried to fight, I would destroy not only myself, but you too. The scandal would affect the whole family, and if I quietly disappeared, in a year or two everything would be forgotten. And you believed, and I had a choice. The academy went bankrupt, the students ran away, the reputation was destroyed. I was left with nothing. Where did you go? First to Rio, then to Recife. I tried to start a new life, open a new school, but rumors reached there too. How did you live? How could I? I worked as a waitress, a saleswoman, a nanny. When my mother got sick, I returned to Sao Paulo. I had to agree to any job. Even as a cleaner. The family of Don Carlos Santos got their way, turned the famous dancer into an invisible person. Rodrigo felt rage rising inside him, at his father, at himself, at the injustice of the world. Quote, Elena, forgive me, forgive us. I will forgive you, she said quietly. You didn't know the truth, and family is more complicated. What can I do? How can I make amends? Nothing can be fixed, Rodrigo. Too many years have passed. It can be fixed, Dona Mercedes intervened. I still have the documents, my father's correspondence with those he bribed. The recordings of phone conversations he ordered me to make for insurance, the evidence of how everything really happened. Why did you keep them? Rodrigo asked, surprised, in case I can ever restore justice. That day has come. It's too late, Dona Mercedes, Elena shook her head. Who cares about events that happened 22 years ago now? They do, Rodrigo said firmly. And I will do everything to restore your name. No need for pity. This is not pity, this is justice and an attempt to atone for the family's guilt. And your fiancé? Elena nodded towards the hall where the banquet was continuing. Fernando will understand, and if he doesn't, then she's not right for me. Beautiful words, Elena smiled bitterly. But life is not a fairy tale, Rodrigo. You can't just snap your fingers and fix the past. You can try to fix the future. What future? I am 45 years old. I have no money, no reputation, no connections. I am a cleaning lady in a hotel, and that is all I can do. You have just proven otherwise, Rodrigo objected. Your dance, Elena, you danced so that the whole room froze. The talent is still there. Talent without opportunities, nothing. And if I give you these opportunities? For what? For the fact that once we were in love. Now we are strangers, Rodrigo. Then not for the past, but for the future. Help me create something worthwhile. What exactly? I don't know yet, but something that will return your respect and give me a chance to atone for the guilt of the family. Elena was silent for a long time, looking out the window at the lights of the night Sao Paulo. Quote, "If I agree," she said at last, "it will be on equal terms. No charity, no pity. An honest partnership or nothing. I agree. And no attempts to return to the past. We are different people. We have a different life. Got it. Then I have a proposal." A week after the memorable evening, Rodrigo was sitting in his office, looking over the business plan Elena had drawn up. He was amazed by her professionalism. Over the years of wandering, she had not only retained her knowledge, but also studied modern methods of managing cultural projects. The Renaissance Cultural Center, he read aloud. A dance academy with a social program. 50% of the places are for fee-paying students, 50% for children from low-income families. That's fair, Elena, sitting opposite, explained. Rich children get a quality education, poor children get the opportunity to change their lives. And how will it pay for itself? With high prices for fee-paying students. Plus grants, sponsorship, charity evenings. Sounds reasonable. And who will be the director? Me, if you agree to my terms. What are the terms? An official partnership, registered in documents, equal rights in decision-making and no special treatment because of our past. Rodrigo smiled. Elena, you've always been a businesswoman, but there is one but. What is it? First, your name needs to be restored. Otherwise no one will believe in the seriousness of the project. How are you going to do it? With the help of documents that your mother saved and public confessions. Who? Those who participated in the conspiracy against you. Many of them are still alive. They won't confess to crimes committed 22 years ago. They will, if you offer them the right motivation. Elena frowned. Period. Rodrigo, I don't want you to intimidate or bribe anyone, and I'm not going to. I'll just explain to them that the truth will come out anyway. It's better to confess voluntarily than to be exposed by force. That same day, Rodrigo met with Fernanda. The conversation was difficult. Are you going crazy? The young woman screamed. You're leaving me for some old cleaning lady. I'm not leaving you for her. I realize that we are not right for each other. Quote, because of one evening, because of your behavior that evening, how you humiliated Elena, laughed at her. She is a cleaning lady. Was I wrong? That is exactly the problem, Fernando. For you, people are divided into worthy and unworthy depending on money. And I don't want to live like this anymore. So what now? Will you marry her? I don't know. Maybe, or maybe I'll just try to become better. Fernando left with a scandal, threatening to tell everyone that Rodrigo was crazy about the old woman. But Rodrigo didn't care, he had already made his decision. He devoted the next 2 weeks to collecting evidence. It turned out that many participants in the conspiracy against Elena were ready to testify. Some were tormented by their conscience, others were afraid of exposure. Gradually, a complete picture emerged of how Don Carlos was destroying the reputation of a woman he didn't like. Finally, the time came for a public confession. Rodrigo organized press conference in the same hotel where his birthday party was held. Ladies and gentlemen, he addressed the journalists. I will tell you the story of the injustice that lasted 22 years. He told everything about how his father fabricated charges against Elena, how he bribed witnesses, how he destroyed her career, showed documents, presented witnesses who agreed to tell the truth. Quote, Elena Moraes, he finished, was and remains one of the best dancers and teachers in our city. She lost 22 years of her life because of lies and intrigues. Today this lie has been officially debunked. Elena sat in the front row, clasping her hands. When Rodrigo finished, journalists approached her with questions. Senora Moraes, what do you feel? Relief, she answered honestly. For 2 years I bore the stigma of a criminal. Today this stigma has been removed. Have you forgiven the Santos family? Forgiveness is a process, it is just beginning. Are you planning a return to the world of dance? Yes, together with Senor Santos we are creating a cultural center for teaching children to dance. And your personal relationship with Rodrigo Santos? We are business partners, Elena answered briefly. After the press conference, they were left alone in the empty hall. Quote, "Thank you," said Elena, "for everything." "This is just the beginning," Rodrigo answered. "There is still a lot of work ahead. Are you sure you want to connect your life with me? At least a business one." "More than sure. And you?" "I'm afraid," Elena admitted. "I'm afraid of losing everything again." "This time you won't lose it, I promise." "Don't promise what you can't guarantee." "Then I promise one thing. I will do everything in my power to make you happy." Happiness is too strong a word. For now, it's enough to just live with dignity. That's not enough. It's enough for a start. A month later, they rented a large space in the city center and began setting up a cultural center. Elena worked 14 hours a day, recruiting staff, developing programs, meeting with potential sponsors. Quote, "You have changed," Rodrigo said, watching her rehearse with the first group of students. "In what way have you become stronger, more confident, although more cautious? Life has taught you, and you have changed. I hope for the better. Although I am not the one to judge, you began to think about more than just money. That is good. It was you who changed me again. This time I am not going to change anyone. People can be accepted or not accepted, but not changed." "And do you accept me?" "I am studying," Elena answered honestly. "It is not easy after everything that happened. I understand and I am not in a hurry. Thank you." 6 months later, the cultural center of the revival became one of the most famous in Sao Paulo. Elena recruited a team of talented teachers, and Rodrigo ensured the financial stability of the project. The combination of high-quality education and social focus attracted the attention of both the elite and ordinary citizens. Quote, "We have a waiting list for 2 months ahead," Elena said at the weekly meeting. "And these are only the paid places. There are 10 people per place for the free competition." "Excellent," Rodrigo nodded. "And how are things with grants?" "The municipality has allocated a subsidy for next year. Plus, private sponsors are ready to finance a program for orphans. You have exceeded all my expectations. This is our common success." Over these months, the relationship between them slowly developed from business to friendship, and then to something more. Rodrigo did not rush things, understanding that Elena needed time to learn to trust again. "Elena," he said one evening when they were finishing work. "Want to have dinner together? At a restaurant at my house. I have learned to cook over the years." Quote, she hesitated. "Rodrigo, I am not ready for a romantic relationship. I know, just a friendly dinner between partners." Quote, "Okay." They went to his mansion. Elena was there for the first time since it all started. The house had changed, it became simpler, cozier, less ostentatious luxury. "Did Fernando really live here before?" she asked, looking around the living room. "Fortunately, no. She preferred her apartment." "And where is she now? Married a banker from Rio?" She seemed happy. Over dinner, they talked about work, plans, memories. Gradually, the conversation moved on to more personal topics. "Rodrigo," Elena asked, "do you regret getting involved with me?" "Why are you asking? You lost your fiancé, changed your whole life, got into a scandal with the press." "The best decision in my life," he interrupted. "Thanks to you, I realized who I want to be." "Who is that?" "A person who is useful, and not just making money. A person who sees people as individuals, and not as sources of income." Beautifully said and true. "Elena, I want to tell you something." She tensed up. "Period." "That I fell in love with you again? Not with the memory of the young dancer, but with the woman who is sitting in front of me now." "Rodrigo, don't answer now, just know. My feelings are sincere. And if I cannot reciprocate, then we will remain partners and friends. This is also enough for happiness." Elena was silent for a long time, looking out the window. "Do you know what I am most afraid of?" she said finally. What? That you idealize me? Fell in love with an image, and not with a real woman with flaws, fears, painful memories? I see you as you are, and I love you just like that. Give me as much time as you need to think. A month later, Fernando's unexpected visitor came to the center. The former model looked different, dressed more simply, without provocative makeup, with a sincere expression on her face. "Elena, can we talk?" she asked. "Of course, about what?" "I want to apologize for that evening." Quote, "For what exactly? For the humiliation, the ridicule? For considering myself better than you just because I had money and youth? I accept your apology, it's not enough. Elena, that evening changed not only your life, but mine too." "In what way?" "I realized how I looked from the outside. An empty, angry, arrogant doll. I felt ashamed. So what did you do?" "I started studying. I took pedagogy courses. I'm studying child psychology. I want to work with children." "Commendable." "Elena, I know I have no right to ask, but can I help at your center for free, as a volunteer?" Elena looked at her carefully. "Period. Why do you need this?" "I want to atone for my guilt and become better. And what will my husband say? He supports me, he is a good person, not like I used to be." Elena thought, "Okay, but I warn you, the work is difficult, often thankless." "I'm ready. Then come tomorrow, let's see what you're capable of." Quote, in the evening, Elena told Fernando Rodrigo about her visit. "It's amazing," he said. "That evening really changed everything. People are capable of changing if they are motivated. And you have changed, learned to trust again. A little. That's enough for a start." "Yes, Rodrigo. I'm ready to try." "What to try?" "A relationship slowly, carefully, but try." He took her hand. "Are you sure?" "No, but I want to try to overcome my fears. Then we will succeed."